about the model or the fundamental pieces of it? Oh, okay, let's rock and roll. So first, this is a big one. Escape competition through authenticity. I love this quote from Naval. I'm going to give you all a template, okay? Please do me a favor and make it your own. Like, don't model it word for word. You can, as training wheels, if you're just going through and you're getting that shitty rough draft done. But the problem is, and this is what happens in every single market, okay, is someone, and I've seen this already happen. I saw some guy rip off my entire page, my entire sales page, and I'm pretty sure it didn't work well because he stopped running ads. But all I know is he had one of those flashy awards in the background. He was trying to make it work. But this is the big thing, is when everyone copies each other, you basically remain a commodity. This is literally what commoditized so many things. Like, this is why high ticket doesn't work well anymore, because everyone started selling high ticket, right? And this is the same in all markets. It's funny. I'm going to try to zoom in on this. These were two different questions I got from people. They were literally like, I'm a B2C health coach. I'm selling a 997 group coaching program. I'm a health coach that helps people conquer IBS. I'm selling a 997 offer, right? Like, I just saw these and I just thought this is a perfect example of this, right? There's no differentiating in price. You might be in two different niches, but you're all still kind of like looking at what everyone else in your industry is doing, right? And one coach, they model, they do the exact same thing, right? The problem is with this idea of just taking something and trying to run with it is you never know how well something is doing unless they actually show you your numbers, right? So you could just be modeling something from someone that just looks like absolute shit. This is a losing battle, okay? So I learned a lot about selling Google Docs and marketing from me, like from a lot of people. Like, learned it from my mentor, learned it from like Travis Sago. He was probably the guy that created this model like 10 years ago or however long that was. He's a freaking legend, right? But I'm not blatantly copying and pasting their styles, right? I'm just looking at them. And I also look at what people outside of your industry, which is a very big thing you can do. You can take what's working in one industry and make it your own, right? And I love this. This is so true. And I swear it's a mental thing of being able to unapologetically be who you are. And I'll show you a perfect example of this. But escape competition through authenticity. Basically, when you're competing with people, it's because you're copying them. But every human is different. Don't copy. Every single one of you, even if you do similar things, has your own style and uniqueness and way of teaching it, right? And that is literally the true way to escape all competition, is owning that and really making it your own. And here's a perfect example. So I have huge credit to my client Dan for doing this. I came up with this when I was working on this, but I started working on this productized offer with him, and he said, can we just call it the unfuck your mind? Like, I just want to help these people unfuck their minds. And I'm like, sure, let's run it, right? I would never, ever do this. Like, if I was running a personal development offer, this is not at all the way I'd do it. But he wrote his a little bit differently, but it still has the same core elements that you need in the offer, right? And it was perfect for him. It was in his tone of voice, and it worked. Like, he literally had a $10 million per year business owner reach out and said, this is absolutely what I need. I'm hitting upper limits. I help scale my mind. Let's go, right? So moral of the story is, I'm handing you a tool. Don't be afraid to make it your own. That's the big thing, right? You can follow the structure. You can keep it the same if you want to, but like, call it what you actually want to call it and really make it your own, because that's what gets people to lean in. As long as you're hitting on the core elements that I'm going to outline with the offer piece, which is critical, like, you need those elements, but as long as you have those, everything else you can really make your own, okay? And have fun. You have my full permission to just go ahead and create whatever the hell you actually want to create and put into the world, okay? So, easiest way to price this, right? Depending on your niche, every niche is different and every person is different, right? So if you have a large audience, you're already doing like 7 or 8 figures, right? Like, you might have the authority to just go out and say, I'm going to charge $250, $350 a week for this thing for once a week group call, right? Every person in here is different. And that's why I say, like, a good structure for price is somewhere between $50 to $250 a week, right? If you want to collect cash upfront, this is the big thing. We're going to talk about this. You can incentivize quarterly or yearly pay options by taking a % off that amount. And you can pull these levers as much or as little as you want. So if you're like, hey, I need cash up front, and you'll see this I just shared the link to the Canva doc. You'll see this in the examples. We always leave the lowest cost pricing option, which I know is a flip from the sales call model where you start and say it's 5K and then you downsell to the payment plans. I just say, no, you can get started for this because we're not doing that back and forth jazz. I'm just like, here's the lowest price, right? When they actually get to the checkout page, you can then say, hey, I've got this option here. You want to pay quarterly or you want to pay yearly, or you can upgrade here and save a good chunk of money and get this bonus, right? Cash now is always more valuable than future cash later or projected cash. Churn is a real thing, happens to me, reality. And this is why, like, look at any SaaS company, any company with a yearly subscription whatsoever, right? Mind Valley yearly, as an example, what are they, 8 or 9 figures? 50% off the yearly plan when I last checked, right? So if you want to sell any service-based business as well, like if you're an agency owner or you're a freelancer and you're like, hey, I want to build an agency and sell it, like the only way, and I learned this from a really successful agency owner that actually sold a business because he was doing enterprise level SEO, was he said, you need yearly contracts. That's the only way you'll ever sell an agency is if you have yearly contracts, right? That's the big thing. Cash is king, okay? Are we good on this part? Can we keep going? Or does someone have a quick question? Good? Cool. All right. So this is, oh, Patty, what do you got for me?